Apple's annual Investor Day and testimony from Fed Chair Powell are set to dominate headlines for the upcoming week. A short month of February also means non-farm payrolls data comes through pre-market on Friday. Still some tradable earnings names left in the season as well, including DOCU, Gap, Ulta Beauty, AI coming through as well, along with SOUN, DKS, and JD.com, among others. It's your one-stop for weekly market prep. Another episode of the Week Ahead Preview right now. Overall, the headline events on the economic calendar set for Tuesday this week, with Fed Chair Powell set to testify in Washington. Monday, however, will bring little in the way of notable data releases. With March comes investor conference season, however. The Morgan Stanley Technology Media Telecom Conference will be running throughout the entire week. Monday will see comments coming through and presentations from the likes of NVIDIA set for 12:10 p.m. We get Uber at 1:25 p.m. Roku also scheduled for around 1:30, and then Airbnb coming through with comments and a presentation at 5:40 p.m. after the close. We'll watch for any comments that could lead to stock movement throughout the session on all of those. After the close as well, earnings due from dating site Grindr and WW International. Not a name we typically look at for tradable opportunities on a given day. However, one of those stocks that can pop up doing all kinds of volume and very, very volatile when they report earnings. Most analysts are expecting a miss. Tuesday at 10 a.m., we get wholesale inventories data for the month of January. More investor conference action coming through as well on Tuesday. NVIDIA back in action, or executives from the company, that is. They'll be at the Cowen Annual Health Conference coming through at 2:10 p.m. Walmart also presenting at the Raymond James Institutional Investor Conference. That's coming out throughout the entire session. After the close, then, there are some notable earnings coming through as well, with the recent surge in AI positivity. We'll look to SOUN's latest report. Most analysts remain bullish on the stock ahead of the company's latest earnings. Crowd and Stitch Fix also among those companies set to report earnings following a blowout report earlier in the quarter from sector leader Palo Alto PanW. Most analysts are expecting big things from CRWD, the cybersecurity company, when it comes through with its latest report. Wednesday then will kick off with economic data pre-market as the U.S. trade balance will hit the wire at 8:30 Eastern. Last month, data showed the country's trade deficit surged to nearly $1 trillion. It'll be an important day for the market overall, with Fed Chair Powell set to deliver his testimony on the U.S. Central Bank's semi-annual monetary policy report to the House Financial Services Committee. That starts at 10 a.m. Eastern. The market will closely watch each and every comment for any sign the Fed has changed its current stance on further interest rate hikes. Powell will also testify at the Senate Banking Committee on the same topic on Tuesday. All eyes then could be on Spotify shares throughout the day on Wednesday. The company is set to host its annual Stream On Investor event that's set to start at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Most analysts are expecting updates on the platform's creator tools, features, and programming as well. Wednesday after the close, we'll hear from the likes of ASAN with earnings. Most analysts' moves ahead of the report have been negative, with targets across the board being revised to the downside. Asana earnings coming after the close. And just like that, it's Thursday. Already initial jobless claims are once again set to come through at 8:30 Eastern in the pre-market. Last week, we once again saw stronger indications from the data, with fewer filing in the prior week for benefits, leading to further inflation talk, suggesting there's still underlying strength that needs to be dealt with in the employment market. Before the market opens as well, we'll watch for earnings coming through from JD.com. They'll wrap up the earnings season for the Chinese ADRs. Morgan Stanley analysts with a positive note recently on the stock ahead of the earnings report, suggesting there could be a further 10 to 20% upside if the Chinese e-commerce giant provides more information on its planned subsidies to better compete with rivals on an ongoing basis. After the close, then, we get reports from DocuSign, Gap, Ulta Beauty, and more. Let's move on to Friday, because what a day in store. The pre-market will kick things off with February non-farm payrolls. Barclays out with a cautionary note ahead of the report, suggesting another blowout number like we saw last month could all but lock in a 50 basis point hike coming from the Fed in March, with analysts also pointing to then a a further 25 basis point hike for both May and June meetings as well. We'll then be paying close attention to Apple shares throughout the day. The company's set to host its annual investor event starting at 12 p.m. Eastern. The annual investor meeting is a good indicator typically of what Apple intends to focus on in the months to come. We'll bring you all the updates as always as they happen live on the show. From Fed Chair Powell's testimony to February non-farm payrolls and Apple's annual investor event, we're setting up for another jam-packed week. Join us live as always daily on TraderTV.Live.